Since not all Disgaea 5 players have DLC, I will demonstrate a method for farming extracts that doesn't require DLC, and this will involve using Capture Skill 3 on 20-star Carnage Martial Training 4. Now, I'm playing the Switch version, and hence the DLC content is already included, and I've already claimed a lot of it. However, the method I'm going to demonstrate won't use any of that DLC, or at least not on any of the characters I'm actively using. This setup also doesn't require much preparation time compared to the Metallia method. However, if you have access to the required DLC, I strongly suggest using the Metallia method instead because it is much faster. Now, before I do anything else, this is on 20-star enemy strength, and it's worth knowing that that curry that's being made there, I already have one of those active, and the active main ingredient in that is this gun. And the effect of that is it gives 50% wind resistance. And I'll explain why that's relevant in a minute. So I'm going to run the stage a couple of times. I'm going to do it quickly once, and then the second time I'm going to explain what the setup is and what's going on. As you can see, what you have to do is fairly simple. So the units I have, Christo is just equipped with a load of movement gear. You can potentially farm this off a number of different Carnage stages. But yeah, this is just used for getting him where I need him. Abilities wise, he has his own abilities. Angel Song, which gives a 25% attack adjustment boost to adjacent allies. And what this means is, during damage calculations, the attacking stats of adjacent allies are treated as being 25% higher. Tactician grants 100% accuracy, because I can't capture the bears if I just outright miss. And Superlative Ally, essentially Christo lends 20% of his int towards the attacking stats of adjacent allies during damage calculations, which is why I want his stats as high as possible, and this is where Heavy Stance and Violence come in just to increase his stats. He's also in the Foot Soldier squad with 20 units in it, so that covers the other 20%, so he's at plus 100% stats here. An Evil Eye reduces the stats of the enemies on the map. This helps a tiny bit. Christo already has 10 million stats, so the plus 100% brings him to 20 million. And then we have the Sage. So a few things to note here. Again, movement gear. Main weapon is a sword. Sub-weapon is a weapon with blower on it. So things to note. The bears have a minus 30% resistance to swords, so that's why I want a sword in the main hand, and they're weak to fire and wind. And blower turns non-elemental attacks, for example a capture skill, into a wind element attack. And you may also notice here that my Sage has 99% wind resistance, because she naturally has 50%, but the additional 50% from the curry brings her up to 99%, the cap. Also, unlike the Metallia setup, I don't need a professional for this, which makes this a lot easier to set up. However, a professional could potentially reduce the setup. Well, it means I could, if I had a professional, I could do this with fewer characters out, which could be good. So, abilities, the Sage's Zone Mass Blaster, 10% more damage per target. I'm using a 9 target skill, so that's 90% damage. Assault Attack, more damage the further I move. Elemental Force gives an attack adjustment boost to elemental attacks equal to your resistance to that element. So my capture skill has become Wind Element, and so I'm gaining a 99% attack modifier, attack adjustment, attack modifier, attack power, whatever you want to call it, boost when using those that Wind Element attack. Purgatory, 50% more critical damage. Desperation, 50% attack adjustment. It gives me a minus 100% defense adjustment, which means I take a load more damage. Not bothered, not getting attacked. Wind Blessing you can just buy from the shop. That's 10% more wind damage. Also explains point. Violence, you get this by buying it on Void, running him through Carol World, turn it into a scroll, and then using that scroll on Christo. Well, it doesn't. The first time it needs to be Void, but after that, anyone who has violence can run Carol World, turn it into a scroll. And the Professor. Just loads of movement gear. Medical Insertion is the Professor's own unique ability, so it doubles the effects of buff spells basically. And Angel Song, same as Christo, so 25% attack adjustment. So Braveheart, so it's 199% attack adjustment, and the damage adjustment shows 485% against most of them. So that's coming from a combination of Assault Attack, Mass Blaster, and targeting two of the bear's weaknesses. Also, back attacks deal extra damage. Actually, I'll quickly demonstrate something. Yeah, 120% Assault Attack boost. Now, I already ran this a few times previously, so my prison has now got 126 prisoners in it. You capture 9 per run, so 14 runs brings you up to 126 of them. The prison can only hold 128, so stop here. Now I need to be able to interrogate them. And to interrogate them, I've just got a couple of prinnies, and all I have is Heavy Stance and Violence, same as Christo, for extra stats, and I had 10 million stats already. So Christo's at 10 million, doubled to 20 million from plus 100% stats. The Sage is at 10 million stats. I haven't even got any plus stats on her. The Professor just has one ability. So the Professor actually has an ability, and Braveheart is at plus 4 because that plus 50% power is the minimum to get a 100% buff out of it with Medical Insertion. And these don't have to be prinnies, they can be whatever generic you want. It's easiest to be generics just because it means you can raise them as monsters mega changed onto Christo while you're raising him. So I'm going to interrogate, and I have to be a bit careful here. So different interrogation methods target different stats. So because bears have fairly lopsided stats, like Res is one of their lower ones, so I'll use Threaten. If I used a different interrogation method, I may fail to interrogate them. As you can see, that cuts it a bit close. I will extract them. And this is the extract we got. And yeah, you can see from the stats on this, bears have pretty lopsided stats. Like they have. This gives a load of attack and not as much speed. Now, unfortunately, the limiting thing here is speed, and I think you have to do this about 14 or 15 times to get 10 million speed on it, and everything else is going to be overkill. Now, this isn't the fastest possible way of doing this, because I hope to send out 3 units. slots. And if I, for example, didn't need the Professor to buff, that would save time. That would be fairly easy to arrange. So I'm only using 9 common ability slots here. If you cleared the map 100 times and put Taste of Victory on, that would be plus 100% stats for 1 slot. That would basically eliminate the need for the buff from the Professor. And then if you gained another, say, 2 slots, you could put on something like Mana Scarcity for plus 50% attack, and that would eliminate the need for having Angel Song on the Professor. And so you could just remove the Professor entirely, only need 2 units. If you had already killed Baal, you could put Axel Gear, which gives teleporting movement on Christo, and so that would mean that instead of walking around the bears, Christo would just teleport to the back. That would save time. Again, I could put a professional on the equipment somewhere. Like, it would be overkill, but it would potentially mean I could skip needing Angel Song on anyone. Eventually, if you have enough stats, you can just skip Christo and just hope you don't miss from a 99%, but with these stats, you don't have good accuracy. Like, you're almost certainly going to miss something, so you want Christo for the accuracy. And him blending part of his into helps. If I had an Aeronaut on here, I wouldn't need the gun in the curry. So yeah, there's a number of ways of improving this. This is just an example on how to do this. This is just a way of doing it that doesn't require much setup. You can just throw this together fairly quickly, but the slowest part of setting this up is spreading around violence and farming a load of Carnage shoes. So yeah, this is what we're working towards. And so, farming 14 to 15 of these, you're looking at spending a couple of hours doing this if you're fairly quick. Compared to the Metallia method, which is potentially you can do it in about 20 minutes. Yeah, go for the Metallia method if you have the DLC, but if you don't, this is a fairly easy way of farming extracts. So yes, I hope this is useful to people.